Hey, what do you know, everybody? It's Joe from Joe's Minibike Reunion. Welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. It is season 2, episode number 6. It looks like we're going to be able to pull off this episode right here in the garage. Ed, it was a tough one last time.
Oh, man, it was so freaking hot.
In the studio in the garage today is minibike builder extraordinaire Jake Moe.
Yay.
I love Jake Moe.
What's going on, guys?
Jake is going to be here. We made a big announcement earlier on, I think it was our Facebook page, about the fact that we have a new head judge for Joe's Minibike Reunion, which is October the 14th here in beautiful La Crescenta at CV Park. It is presented by Pioneer Car Audio, and we have gotten to a point, Ed, where we just had to rethink the judging. There was just too many people coming. There were too many cool bikes.
It's always a problem with judging. Everyone always has something to complain about.
Well, I'm not doing it because we were invaded with complaints as much as the embarrassment that I had after the ceremony. As folks were leaving, I would look at all the other bikes and say, well, how did that one not get in? Or how did that one not make it?
They didn't have their sign up.
Well, I think that could be. I think it could be a variety of things. One thing I had mentioned to you is that some of the nicest bikes weren't really registered as participants. They were within a display. For example, F&B had that really nice bike that was in their booth. And it wasn't, I don't think, received as a bike that's going to be judged. And honestly, I would take your time. I would take some guys that I know that are really into the Honda bikes, you know, the Groms or the CT70s and the Z50s. And those guys helped me out with that category. But when I would ask you, or in the past with several other judges, it was kind of tough because it takes away not only your time at the show, but there's an awkwardness as to your bikes that you bring and their eligibility.
Oh, I don't care about that.
No, I know you don't. But I do think that going forward, for example, another good example would be Jake. Jake brings some of the nicest bikes to the show. And for me to take him on as a judge and then eliminate an opportunity for his bikes to be judged, that doesn't work. So I have an idea about that. And we'll get into that a little bit later on, as well as the criteria that I had used before for the judging. But maybe more importantly, what we can do with the help of some of you guys. So if you have any suggestions or recommendations, or for that matter, feedback in any capacity about the judging, this is the show to do it. I want to begin by getting out some of the sponsor roll calls so that we can get right into the show. I'd like to begin by thanking Pioneer Car Audio for all the support. Don't break up with your car. Upgrade it with Pioneer Car Audio, featuring the new single DIN head unit, which is featured in the really popular Muscle Truck from Roadkill. Muscle Truck's still big. You know, we just got back from the Roadkill Zip Tie Drags in Memphis. I want to give a shout out to Carmen Carisi, as well as his son, Jason Carisi. They've been to both Zip Tie Drags so far. And I want to give a shout out to Justin Wilcox, cool guy that I met. He came out, and he's a star now. They put him on the Facebook page for Roadkill with him on his bike. So we're creating superstars, Ed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice to see the mini bikes turn out. CRC, we have a pallet of CRC goodies that we'll be giving out at the event. We gave Jake and Ed a chance to grab some. This is their new Cleaner Carb, which is really good stuff. Those of you who use the Brake Clean realize all their stuff's really good, including the Power Lube. We've got, oh, this is good. And God knows you're going to need that for those old Bonanzas that you just dug up.
I needed some last week.
Knock her loose.
Knock her loose. And you can even use this on bikes, too, not just for your old girlfriends. This is Staplex, which is grease. We got pallets of grease.
Extreme pressure.
Extreme pressure. Well, you put the extreme pressure with the knocker loose. It's going to be a fun for everybody. In fact, these two things could really make a single man's life happy.
And it's red grease.
Hey, we've got small engine cams. Continue to be sponsors of the show.
All right.
Giving away another small engine cam. So if you have a legitimate question or comment about the judging, send them in, and we'll have Ed, with the help of Jake, figure out what was the coolest question, and we'll send this camshaft to you. I've got to get a camshaft for Frankenstein, and we'll talk a little bit about that too, because Jake's going to take it back maybe this weekend, and we're going to make it go a little bit faster so I can kick D. Revis's ass in my comeback. We have a couple other sponsors that have been a part of the show for a while. Go Kart USA. We had a little fun with the kit, what is it? Their American Flyer
Flyer.
215
Yeah.
that the family man Emron sent down to us. Thank you, Emron and Al. We assembled that. It's out in the side. I noticed that you guys were taking a look at it. Pretty cool bike, huh, Jake?
Yeah, it's real nice. I like that. The 8-inch tires look good. The black and red.
Yeah, when I first opened up the box with the wheels, and I saw them, it's like, oh, they're the right size.
I thought they were going to be silver.
And I wasn't sure about the red. You know, red's one of those colors where you're either into it or not, but it works. And
Cool. It gives it kind of an old school hot rod look.
well, the size of it's a big boy size. It's got that little 5-degree tilt where the engine mounts, which I liked. And those are some pretty tall bars. You know, when you look at them, they're almost like pseudo mini apes. So we're going to not only put the finishing touches on what Ed and Alana from Roadkill assembled during the last podcast. I swear, if Alana didn't have a husband, she'd be all over Ed. All she talked about, Ed this, Ed that, Ed this. Isn't he cute?
Stir up some trouble.
Oh, Tom, he knows. So that bike is going to be reinforced with a power plant that they're going to send down to us. We're going to get a choice of a Titan or a Predator, and we're going to put on one of the new torque converters from Go-Kart USA. They've got a variety of different sizes. In fact, I don't know if this is going to make it in there. We're busted out with sponsors, and it's a good thing for us. We have a new one as well. GoPowersports.com. They have a variety of not only mini bikes, but go-karts and performance parts. They're out of Texas. They're going to offer a discount of 10%. There's a special code, Joe's Minibike Reunion code, if you use it online. And they've put together like a power package for that 6.5 horsepower that's inside that Coleman. It's got, you know, typical things, air filters, different intake gaskets, a header pipe. You know, it'll give you a little bit of hop up. I think they give you upgraded valve springs, all the gaskets, everything else you go. That really kind of helps out with the low to mid-range power. It's the Go Power Sports Coleman Performance Kit. I see a lot of these guys buying those Colemans. I'm not necessarily sold on them myself. You know, I'm kind of more traditional, old school, but they seem to be popular for new folks getting into the sport. And that's all that matters to me. If that's going to be their entree into the sport, so be it. And there's a hop-up kit for it. It's available at GoPowersports.com. And if I missed any other sponsors, I'm still going to keep your $22, and we'll hit you guys a little bit later up. This episode is also in memory of, I got a good friend of mine that I see over at my local grocery store all the time. And his brother, Reagan Matthew Jung, died of a cardiac arrest at work. And he was way too young for that to happen. And it's unbelievable when folks you see one day are gone the next day. So a shout out to him. And on a much happier note, this got to be Myron Bailey calling me. On a much happier note, I want to wish a happy 50th birthday to my beautiful, sexy sister-in-law, Gail.
Yeah,
and a happy...
Gail.
Oh, she's going to be at the show.
All right.
What's the first thing she asked?
How's Ed?
How's Ed? Second thing, she loves Ilana. She loves Ilana. So she'll be here. And then a happy 70th birthday to my good friend, Jim Savis. All right, enough with the strokes and the tokes. Jake, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, Jake.
You said it was cool down here. How hot is it up in where?
Man,
Palmdale?
Yeah. When we left, it had to been probably 100 still. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. At least, right?
Well, when they're sending you pictures of tumbleweeds
humid,
and
too.
snakes, you know it's a hot time. We struggled, as I said in the last podcast, but you know what? We got a little bit lucky tonight, and I'm glad it's a little bit cooler for you. We've got some of your favorite adult cocktails there. You're a Blue Moon guy, huh?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I went into a
Change it
little
up every
streak of
now and
those. Yeah, I started getting into the Peronis.
There you go.
Hey, I
all
want
works.
to first of all thank you
Yep.
for taking on the task of being the head judge. We're not going to send you out to battle with a slingshot. We've got what I think is a decent core
Okay.
for the judging.
Cool.
What we don't have, I think, are enough eyes, and I don't think we really had a process that was all-inclusive. So we'll get to that, and we'll talk a little bit about what we have in place, and then we'll talk about maybe some of the ideas you have, including maybe some potential folks that could help out with the judging. Ed and I will remain a part of it in some capacity. My capacity is I read the list of who you guys picked. Ed's capacity would be, if at all, at any time you needed help or assistance. And I think what I'd like to do is suggest, Ed, that maybe you take over and head up the judging if, in fact, it then becomes a situation where one of our judges wants to enter a bike, because I do want Jake's bikes, and some of the guys that I'm thinking about or suggesting to Jake to help, they're folks that bring bikes. Mm-hmm. Let's just say Cliff Judd Neck was a judge.
Okay.
I want Cliff to bring his bike and enter it and be eligible.
Right.
So when Cliff's bike is being judged, Cliff gets to go hang out at the t-shirt booth. You know, he gets to walk around and see the friends. And then you guys look at it. Whether he wins or loses is going to be, has nothing to do. This is not the old school where people voted for their friends. We won't allow that. However, if Cliff's bike is strong and it should be one of the winners, just because he's a judge, you shouldn't keep him away from that. So that's kind of one of the ideas I had.
That's true, but you still have the people that are going to say, oh, he won because he's a judge.
And how would you react to that?
So, not really. He didn't win because of that. His bike is nice.
Right. So that's what it's all about. The winner's bikes and the winning bikes will be bikes that are just the bikes that the judges collectively thought. As you know, when it gets to the final end, the ultimate winner really has nothing to do with what the judges say, because when we get to the final two, we let the folks select. It's the Brad Elsey People's Choice Award,
right?
And it's the sound that is made by the applause. You know, short of getting one of those applause meters, it's pretty clear to tell out there in CV Park who's going to win, right? Yeah. So that's how we're going to do it. So we'll talk a little bit about the judging. I wanted to begin the podcast, if we could tonight, Ed. You have always looked to increase your stable of Bonanzas.
Yeah.
How many do you have now?
Well, I don't have very many, but I like to keep, I sell them and buy them, but there's certain ones that I like to keep. So Bonanzas, I have my MX, my 1000, and I have a...
You have a 14?
1400.
Right.
With lights.
Okay.
And H50 on it. And then I have a Temecula Bob drag bike.
I remember that
with
one.
a blue zoom in it.
Right.
And then I got a frickin' pal I'm kicking over. I don't even know whose it is.
I think I had one.
Oh, was that yours?
That may be it.
I'm kicking it around. Maybe I should put it together.
Kicking Joe's bike around.
You know, I bought that bike.
I couldn't remember where it came from.
Man, I forgot I had it. I mean, I'm looking around thinking, you know, it's like I made a little progress. For those of you who follow along, we off the Ducati. So there's an absence of that here, but we snuck in a little new Suzuki van, which I rode the shit out of with the Grom guys a couple Saturday nights ago or Friday nights ago through downtown LA, and I love that bike, man. It was a little bit faster than the Grom. It's a bigger bike. And it's just much more comfortable when it's all said and done.
For what size it is.
Yeah, it's got that look.
Freaking huge.
It's got that classic look. Well, I think the tires give it that look too.
Yeah.
You know, they're bigger tires. So Ed, tell us about, first of all, now we know how many of them you have. These two you were really excited about.
Yeah, they kind of look bad, but they're like OG Bonanzas.
You know, maybe, I'll tell you what, why don't you give us a little walk around if you can, or you're mic'd up to go, Ed.
Yeah.
So this is, what year bike and what model Bonanza was that one?
This one is like a 65 or a 66.
Okay.
The badge has been scraped off, but the number is still there because it's stamped into the badge.
What number is that one?
The number is 4517.
4517. Wow.
Yeah. And it's got... or like, I probably would say these are original Sawtooths. They're General Jumbo Juniors.
Okay. They look like they're original.
Yeah.
The fender doesn't.
The fender's a little different than the later ones. It has a longer lip, and they mounted the bracket way off center. Also on the front fork, the later 1000s, this pinch has been pinched on both sides.
Oh, okay.
This pinch has like been hit on one side only.
That's the pinch to keep the axle bolt and nut to
yeah,
run flush.
where the tube comes down and flattens out.
Yeah, are we able to get on this? Yeah. Great.
Okay, and then on the back.
Ed, maybe you can you maybe get on this side here so the folks can see a little bit better? There you go.
Right here?
Yeah.
On the back, it has that big jack shaft.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked like a camshaft sprocket, for Christ's sake, when I first saw it. You noticed?
That's the hill climb.
Yeah.
Yep, that. And then the chain adjusters are different. I can turn it around a little bit.
Yeah, Jake, give him help there. You're a big, strong, strapping guy. I remember
see
Jake used
it?
to eat glass for breakfast.
Can you see that?
Oh, yeah, the adjuster back there?
Yeah, there's like spacers, wheel spacers with a bolt welded to them. And the axle is like a stud with 2 nuts on it. 1 nut on this side, 1 nut on this side. And this is not a Bendix brake. It's a Fairbanks Morse brake.
Ah, Fairbanks. They made clutches too, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
The early Bonanzas had Fairbanks Morse
Right.
brakes. And the axle tabs here are way different.
In what way, Ed?
Or not the axle tabs, the fender mounts. I
Yeah, I
mean.
was going to say.
They're way bigger. They have 2 holes, and then they have a square hole, which I have no clue what that square hole is for.
Wow, usually the square hole is with those bolts with the square in there so that it just can't turn.
Yeah,
Why
but
would
the
that be used
fender
for
mounts to the
fenders?
2 holes here.
Yeah. What would those carriage bolts be for, Jake?
I think it's for like some kind of like a rack or something. Off
Yeah,
the,
like a
sissy bar or something like that.
Yeah, although
It
I've
could
never
have been.
seen
You know,
those.
there's no real pictures of
It's the
these
first
early
thing in mind,
Bonanzas.
but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure it's probably something very simple, but without anything that's attached to it, your mind could go nuts.
Exactly.
So what's the story with that engine there? It looks like we got a different gas tank and some different parts and pieces. The carburetor.
Yeah, I was
looks
just
like
trying to throw an engine together for early Bonanza because I seen a picture of one of these.
Send it back, Ed, so you don't have to worry about holding it there.
And it had a Briggs in it with a front mounted tank.
Okay.
So I had this Briggs. It had a bottom mounted tank, and this one had got off of Mac.
Oh, sure.
I went over to Mac's
Sure.
and invaded his place.
Richard McGill, JMBR Hall of Famer.
Yep.
He's got that swap meet. In fact, he's doing another one in September.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing another one. Keep an eye out for that, the Mac Fest.
So I
down
found
in
these
Norwalk.
parts. I found the updraft carb, the air cleaner,
See, the
tank.
carb looks like it comes off of Clinton.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't it? You know,
Oh man, that's fancy.
yeah.
Hard line too. Look at that.
Yep,
Yep.
hard line.
Nice.
So basically, I was trying to put an engine together to set in it until I could find the original one.
And what is the original one on this one? Is it a
Would be
3.5?
one like this,
Yeah, okay.
3 horse,
Yeah. Or 3 or 3.5?
3.
Okay. Well,
With
if there's
a-
anybody out there, what are we looking for, Ed, exactly?
A 65 Briggs,
65
horse.
Briggs, 3 horse. Anybody wants to make a little cash?
front
and
mounted tank.
flat mounted tank. I like that hard line. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. You don't see those.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You should keep that, Ed, and swap it over depending on what else. So, tell me, was this a friend of a friend? This was something that you went on your dailies and by the minute search of Craigslist, was it?
No, it's funny. I put, when the Winber was
Sit
going
back
on.
down, you guys.
Well, I got to show them the other bike.
Okay, well, that's right. We got 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the better one.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's more messed up, but hey, it's OG Bonanza.
No, I'm telling you, when I saw those bikes, it's like, yeah, I can see why I would get
I
excited.
got
about
both
those.
bikes from the same guy.
Okay, so that was what I was getting at. You got these from a friend of a friend, or what?
Acquaintance off of OMB.
Okay.
Now
Did
this
he give
one,
you a shout out, letting you know, or did he give you a heads up, or
his
was it
name's
already?
Engine Tom.
And did Engine Tom have these posted, or did he give you an insider's?
No, he didn't have them posted.
So he did you a prop, and he kind of called you up. And
What
said, I got-
happened was, when Winber was going on,
right?
and I couldn't make it out there, I posted on Facebook one of the threads or whatever you want to call it. Someone find me an early Bonanza. Well, Engine Tom was reading that, and he said, he replied,
Engine Tom Didgewiskowski, the guy who won the camshaft.
no,
That okay. Okay.
the different
All right.
one.
I love the names.
So he hit me up.
I know.
Agent Tom, man.
He said he
Can't
hit me
change
up
mine.
and said he had some. So I didn't really pay attention to it. And then he advertised a taco for sale on Facebook. And then said he had Bonanza parts, this and that, blah, 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 that he was trying to get rid of. So then I PM'd him or whatever you messaged him or whatever you want to call it.
You're so trendy.
I said, so what do you want for the early Bonanza? Can you send some pictures? So he sent me some pictures. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta have it. Gotta have it.
They seem pricey. You know, when they look that old, it just
Yeah, if I told you what I paid for them, you guys would like kick me out of the garage.
No. I get it. So what's the other one?
This one is like one of the first 50 made.
Does it have the badge number on it?
There's no badge number, but it's got to be toward the late of the first 50 because it has badge holes in the front fork.
Okay.
My friend Jerry, who was on OMB, Custom Car Kid, he has the #1 Bonanza that he bought off of Dan Ferrand, who was Mike Ferrand's brother, and Mike Ferrand owned Bonanza.
Wow.
So somehow they got in contact with each other through OMB, and Jerry bought the #1 Bonanza.
Surprised they let that go.
Yeah, he said after keeping it for 50 years or whatever, it was time for someone else to own it.
They are getting up there in age, the original owners of Bonanza.
Yeah. So his badge originally was stuck on with double-sided tape.
That's not how they came, right?
The first one, yes.
No. Oh, no shit. Before they started to put the rivets in there?
Yeah, before. So also,
wow. I didn't know that.
Also on the front plate, mine is only welded a little bit right here on the fork.
Yeah, I see.
And Jerry's bike is like almost solid all the way down.
Why do you think they
said
changed
in the
that?
I don't know.
Why do you think, Jake?
Production.
Okay.
Faster,
yeah, sure.
So
pop, pop.
This one has the fork just welded a little bit in the front, and it also has holes for a badge. So Jerry told me that it's probably in one of the late, like maybe 40 to 50, because the way you can tell the first 50 was they had this plate for the seat. It's the seat riser. They had a different seat on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they had a different seat, and it came out on this riser. Now, someone had taken this motor plate, which is the original motor plate that fit on it. I cut it off, but originally it had a tilted engine plate.
Oh, like the one that's on the
yeah, like that.
Those
and
are like 5 degrees too, right? They're not very much, are they?
Well, it's supposedly 1 inch here and 2 inches here.
Okay, yeah, they probably ended up more than 5, but yeah.
And then it had a jack shaft that ran underneath the motor plate.
Under the plate?
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
So when I started looking at the bike, I said, well, that's the stock motor plate. Someone cut the sides off and just laid it flat in the frame. Well, you know, how old are these bikes? 60
Sure.
years old?
Yeah, something. Sure.
People do weird shit, you know. So Jerry's taking some measurements off of his plate, and I have a friend up in like San Francisco area.
Right.
He's going to make me a new plate.
Oh, beautiful.
So in the meantime, I cut this one out, and I put this L-thread here to hold the frame together. When I cut it, sometimes they go bink.
Sure.
Like that.
Yep.
So I put this in here before I cut it out. And also it had a cutout here for the chain.
Let's see.
When you put
yeah.
When you put the jack shaft in here, it's like sitting right here. You need a cutout.
Yep.
To clear the plate. But this one has been cut out more than it should be. But still, I still have this.
Well, this is a part of the collecting, and you always said that in our hopes to pull off our own YouTube show, you know, people say, well, what would you do? It's like, well, it's, you know, the premise of the show would be kind of like American Pickers.
And originally it had a two-stroke motor in it.
A two-stroke?
Is that the original tank yet?
No, I don't know if it is.
Looks a little too big.
It's kind of cool. If you look close, you can see the Briggs & Stratton logo.
Yeah, but it didn't have a Briggs. It had a Tecumseh AH58 or a Tecumseh AH60. But Jerry's bike, the very first one, Dan put a Power Products AH82 on it. But the rest of them came with the smaller motors.
Yeah, finding those bikes and then finding them in that somewhat close to original condition. Most people, especially those that didn't know, like you're walking by them. You know, it's like, what am I going to do with that thing, right? And then knowing that you could be walking by something as iconic as one of the first 50 made, or in this case, maybe the first 5,000.
Before they were called Bonanza, they were called California Kart. Another tidbit I didn't know. Mike made go-karts. and then he wanted to get into
the trend went from go-karts to mini bikes pretty quickly,
right,
in the late 60s, and I
so
think
it has the original sticker from back then on this seat riser.
Oh, I got to look at that afterwards. That's cool.
Sticker, that's the best part.
Yeah.
It's got that sticker on there. Also, on the back here, it's got different plates for that rear axle. They're cut out here.
Like the normal ones.
They're cut out so the axle slides like this, but it gets held in with the same style adjusters that's on this bike.
Got it.
And it goes through this little chain adjuster
holder. It's almost like a quick release hub, you know, like some engineering.
And also this one took a Fairbanks Morse drum brake.
How hard is it to find one of those, Ed? One of those assemblies, those Fairbanks Morse
5-inch brakes? I don't know.
Well, if you found the bike, I bet you can find the brakes.
I have the brake for it.
Oh,
I got the brake for it.
Yeah. If anybody's out there listening.
I got some wheels for it when I got it, and I got the Fairbanks Morse brake, and I got a sprocket.
Well, I bet that you hear back, maybe even before the podcast, when somebody's got an old
and it
bridge.
has way more rake in it, too. I don't know. In the front end on the springs, it has springs at the bottom of the fork tubes.
Yeah, let's let Jake spin that around for you.
Set it up there.
Yeah, there we go.
We're still able to capture this pretty good, right? Yeah, good.
These are early Bonanza right here, so that's how you can tell. Had the external spring. The rake is a lot more in this bike than
you can see that, especially from my angle head. Notice how this one is a straight down.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Good little finds. Congratulations, Ed.
Well, thank you.
Were they within state or out of state?
Merced.
Oh, okay, right here in Central California.
Yeah, I had to drive like forever to get them.
Right by Ian.
He didn't want to ship them because he was afraid something might get lost. You know,
well, it's half the fun is going up there and getting them. You know, that's what I was talking about the premise of the show. It would be out. You know, what would an episode be? It would be me and you, or me, you, and Jake.
So I sent a bunch of pictures to Jerry. I sent a bunch of pictures to Jerry of both bikes, and he's supposed to send the pictures to Mike to give you more of an idea of what year they are. Right now, I'm guessing because there's no pictures of any bikes. There is, but they really don't say no years on the advertisement. Like, I saw this one on a 66 advertisement was similar to this, but
I'll jump in
you
and
don't
help
see
you.
one with this bike on it.
Yeah, and we invite anybody that may be listening that could see these. If you have any information that could be helpful to Ed, by all means, give us some info. In fact, we'll make a nice prize package available for anybody that has a chance to maybe send in some insight on these bikes. We'll put together a bunch of CRC product for you. We'll give it away, and we'll have Evil Ed autograph a can.
What is it, like the old Life magazines? Or like
Boys Life or something it was called. The Cub Scouts used to get them. Boys
just
Life.
like you look online on Craigslist for bikes, just go look at the mini bike. It's like the materials and promotional literature. There's a ton of stuff inside the back of that room there where I store some of the bikes. I have some old Bonanza ads. I don't know if they're going to go that far back. You know, I think they started like the late 60s, early 70s, so I may have missed out on that, but we can get some homework done. What do you realistically plan time-wise before you can maybe get one of these things in somewhat of a rolling?
This one I'm just going to take my time on. I don't even think I'm going to paint it. I'm just going to fix what's wrong with it.
Just leave it.
Because I don't want to screw the sticker up in the back.
Yeah.
And it had this other go-kart sticker in the front, and we took a picture of that. Maybe Mike Ferrand would kind of know that sticker from back then, you know?
That time era.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's decal on the back of the riser for the seat could be a telltale sign for someone else as well.
Right.
That one in the back's the original, right?
Yeah, it's original sticker.
And how did you say the forks were?
The forks?
Yeah.
Oh, they're solid tube. And then when it gets to like maybe like right here, there's a flat strap with an elongated hole in it. So you push it up in there, and then you take this bolt out, and you push it up in there, and you look for the slot, then you slide the bolt through the slot, and that's what holds it from falling out.
Yeah, how practical. That's one thing. They were so smart back then. Yeah. Well, congratulations again, Ed, on your 2 little finds there. On the year again, what year you thought this was a 63 and
I
a
think it's
65?
like a 63, and this might be a 65 or a 66.
So I was 4 and 5 years old when those things were running around in someone's backyard and neighborhood.
I was 10 years old if this is a
shit.
66.
Well, those look good. I knew that you were excited. I think you added an exclamation point to your comment when you sent it. I know that's a big thing for you. And now that I see them, I can see why.
I mean, they're kind of crusty looking, and you know, a lot of people are like, that's too crusty. But you know, they're OG Bonanzas. They're one of the first ones made.
No, they're perfect for Evil Ed collection. Are you kidding me? If you bought anything clean and shiny in here, I'd throw you out. Looks great. Congrats on that, man.
All right, thank you, guys.
Yeah, once again, guys, if you have any information that you can maybe share with Evil Ed on his new Bonanza finds, genuine barb finds. Yeah, I really like the that sprocket there where the jack shaft would go. Again, it looked like a camshaft sprocket on there. Good stuff, Ed. Good stuff.
Original Jumbo Junior sawtooth tires on this one, up front and back.
Yeah, you got to get a picture in there of those. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen any like that.
Turn that towards me, Eddie. Let me take a peek. Oh, yeah.
That pattern.
Oh, I haven't seen that pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can get a little close-up on that. So, good stuff, Ed.
Yeah,
genuine Bonanza collectibles.
Yep.
It makes me feel bad about my late 60s, early 70s now. I feel like I've sold out. We've got Myron Bailey coming up with the Detroit Motor City Minute, brought to you by Studs Hardware and Power Sports. From what I hear, there's a big event happening in Detroit this coming weekend. They always got something going on there. I had a chance to spend some time with my good buddy Calvin Carisi from Detroit. He came up with, in fact, in homage. Is that how you say it? I'm wearing this in honor of you, Calvin. Is this the shirt that you saw that you liked?
I like it, yeah.
Yeah. So, Calvin, send one for Jake Moe. He doesn't like to ask twice. What size are you, Jake? You're large?
Large, yeah.
Yeah, he's a large. Calvin has come to both of the Roadkill Zip Tie drags representing the mini bike industry. He brought Nitro 44. His last bike that he brought was an old Ruttman that was his first bike. And it was cobbled together. He had an old flathead that he stuck in there. And when you're at that car show, there's a variety of vehicles there. You know, let's face it, out of the hundreds of vehicles that are there, most of them are cars, and then all these mini bikes start popping up. Calvin started it all off by bringing his Nitro 44, and because we're all fans of mini bikes as well, Alana particularly, there was a lot of coverage. And so he's been getting, now it's like they swat him like flies now. He's around all the time. You know, we're so used to Calvin coming to the event, and he'll be with us on August the 12th as we invade Woodward Boulevard for the Roadkill Nights. It's a week before the Woodward Dream Cruise, just to avoid any confusion on that. I think there's an entry fee for spectators. It's minimal. It's like $5, and it's hard to get in now. Unlike the last Roadkill Night event, it was pretty much open to everybody. We don't have the ability to take everybody who's interested in coming as a drag racer. So it's one of those things where, Calvin calls me up. He's like, Joe, I didn't make it. They cut it off. It's like, you don't need no stinking registration. Just show up, Calvin. Just show up. We'll take care of him. So we're going to take care of Calvin. I think he's picking me up in Detroit when I arrive next, whenever the hell it is. And we're going to go maybe check out a few folks there. I'm hoping I can go see the Little Indian guys, Frank Micarina.
Micarina or Micharina.
Micharina, yes. I'd like to see him. He did so much for and still continues to through Allied Leisure Corporation, which is Little Indian's contemporary name. I still have one of their frames and bikes that's never had any fluid or oil or gas in them that I'm going to hold on to. It's not an OG one, so I'm keeping an eye out because I love those little, really small Little Indians. I have one of the newer 3-piece or 2-piece frames and kits. But Little Indian, to me, that's about as iconic of a name and brand within the mini bike industry as well as some of the other popular brands like Bonanza or Taco, for example. Little Indian has always had that notoriety. I love that logo too. You know, with the Taco logo is still one of my all-time favorites, but the Little Indian one, that was pretty cool too, you know?
Yeah, they had a lot of cool stuff back then.
They still do. I get the sense that there's some compatibility with those bikes and the Ruttmans. I'm not sure who. I think the Ruttman guys who came around a little bit later probably stole the few cues off the
story on some of that or something. One of them pissed one of them off or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I had heard
like Ruttman and then the Mickey Thompsons and the Augies. they're all kind of the same too.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they all kind of came from the same.
Yeah. I think those bikes come in like a second tier, where you had the original guys, the Bonanzas, the Little Indians, and the Tacos. They all came out with their deal.
The second wave that came through.
Yes, those are the guys who saw the bikes and got incentivized or got excited, or maybe in their mind, whether they wanted to increase the thickness of the tubes that were used, whether they had a different idea about power plants or setups, the evolution of the suspension.
Yep.
You know, finally went from a scrub brake, which they were traditionally, you know, using early on. So that was nice to see those guys over at Detroit. And I look forward to seeing him again on August the 12th for the Roadkill Zip Tie Drags.
There's a guy out there too. I think his name's Chris Maloche. But he has a cool dual engine drag bike, and it has nitrous and stuff on it.
Really?
Yeah, it has dual Predators, and they're all built up. It's supposed to be pretty fast. It's supposed to be like a 90-mile-an-hour 8 deal.
They, without a question, they being the guys from Detroit, have, from what I've seen, not only at the events, but what I've seen on the social media, they are really about going fast.
Oh man, yeah, they're big out there. Yeah.
And I know, because I have seen what we're capable and what we do out here on the West Coast, and although I have a lot of respect for what's happening in Detroit, I still know that when push comes to shove, we've got it going on out here. But it seems to be now getting to a point where there's some, it's the scales are balancing, and there's you know, there's a lot of good talent out there, and there's a lot of guys that really are very good builders. They're very good engine guys, and they're innovative as well. I see some of these bikes where they're unbelievable. It looks like this is the work of.
Yeah, they're trying a lot more things than we are. That's for sure. I seen a guy that even took a dirt bike engine gear case, cut it off, welded it up, and then adapted it to like a backwards Predator. So the Predator faced forward, but it had a 5 or 6 speed gearbox, and the guy was just going down the street shifting it, and it was running pretty good.
Yeah,
like,
you know the guy's working out of his garage.
I thought about that a long time ago, and I was like, oh, somebody finally did it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know that they're not working in elaborate shops.
No.
You know they're probably looking around for a 1/2-inch socket, just like we do. Yet
motor laying around. Hey, I can use some parts off that.
Yeah, there seems to be that too, where they're not just running. You know, I know those guys really support buying new products.
Yeah.
You ever see a picture from Studs Hardware? It's like a deli in New York. It's like 9 deep.
Oh yeah.
People trying to get their shit, and you know,
walls packed full of stuff.
Yeah, full bikes and product everywhere.
Yep.
And there was a time where I kind of saw that in my deal. It's like, man, brick and mortar, have a nice building, we'd have bikes there, we'd have complete rollers, and then it's like, you know what? It's California.
Yep.
It's too expensive. It's too expensive to have a shop. I go down to a little downtown Montrose. Me and my wife, we walk around there, and it's like, man, I got to have a shop down here. Just a small little building, and then it's like, you know what's going to happen? All the bullshit that goes along with it. Who's going to come in and rob you for a crack hit? Who's going to break in through the fucking roof to steal your shit? It's like, I don't want to go through all that, but at some point, we've got to get these Detroit guys, as well as our LA guys, together. We've got to get them together at a place where, because the majority of them are like me and you and like Myron. You know, we're not necessarily like Jake, where we're building bikes from scratch, or, you know, tearing apart and rebuilding motors during our lunch break. You know, Ed, you and I will get together, we'll bolt down, we'll do our little deal. I know your capabilities are deep enough where you could do everything that I just mentioned, but most of the guys are pretty much buying their engine, bolting it in, and bolting on some parts, and keeping their finger crossed that the bike runs on Saturday for a couple hours, right?
Yep.
So I want to attract all those guys, yet also see if we can put together a group of, I don't know, 20 of all the go fast guys, all the guys that really just want to build badass drag bikes. And I would like to see if we could go 100 miles an hour. I really would like to do that. And I've talked about that before. And I have what I think is something pretty exciting that I've been working on. And it has to do with doing just this. It'd be the Joe's Minibike Reunion Top Gun Challenge. And ultimately, we would look to go 100 miles an hour. That would be the long-term goal. And at each of these opportunities and races, we would pit bikes, and I'd need your help, in different categories. whether it's pull start category, whether it's a small block category, whether it's a big block category or unlimited, and you would sign up. I think the entry fee for the events would be very similar to what you pay now, $20-25 just to register, and you would be in a specific class depending on how you were entering, and then you would be matched up with those same type bikes, and it'd be one of those single elimination. You know, you'd have a test and tune opportunity for you the night before. I always talked about having a place where we can ride and then test and tune and then go have a beer and camp out and wake up and not have to worry about being at some track. You're already there. You fire the bike up, you get a cup of coffee, you drop the kids off at the pool, you go get that bike, and somewhere within that day, you're going to go maybe 2 or 3 times down the track. You're going to be heads up against your first competitor, single elimination. You go, it's kind of like that.
So are you talking 100 miles an hour at the track?
No, that's the long-term goal.
Wide open.
A quarter mile.
Quarter mile.
At some point, whether it was this year's race or next year's race, our quest at the very end is to see if we can get a bike to 100 miles an hour. Yeah. Would we do that the first event that we throw?
Might.
Who knows?
They're getting close, man.
Yes.
They're in the 90s all day.
Yep.
You got it. So I don't want someone to have issues making the 100 mile an hour attempt the biggest accomplishment for the day. I want them to go into this trying to go as fast as they can, and then we'll tweak it. And if we can get to 100 miles an hour, that would be great, because that would give us the takeoff pad and the launching pad to really get some notoriety. Along the way, I've always needed a media partner that can help fan the fire, and it looks like we have one who's interested in what we're doing, the guys from at Roadkill. So everyone says, hey, you guys ought to come out here, come out to Detroit, we'll show you, or hey, come out to California.
East Coast, West Coast.
So guess what? Talk's cheap. I'm hoping that we can make it different and make it a reality. And I have had some preliminary conversations with some folks that matter, and they're going to have a conversation with a few track owners that would give us the blessing. One of them I have my mind on. And then it's just simply a matter of, covering your bases with expenses and liability and costs and all that stuff. But the Joe's Minibike Reunion Top Gun Challenge,
Top Gun.
I think that's something that we can all get behind and support. And Ed, I'm going to need your help already, I'm telling you right now. And Jake Moe, I look for you guys to help me out. How we doing, E? We getting close to our halftime break? All right, so...
already?
Yeah,
quick, huh?
It kind of goes by quick.
Right.
Hey, a little bit later on...
Joe's just getting started.
Well, we still got some time before we go to the break. And when we come back from the break, again, we're going to take a look at maybe some of the comments and questions that folks may have about the judging. And then the second half, we'll really get into the judging after we get entertained by Myron. And then, we're going to try to double it up. As we get into August and September, we're going to get into 2 podcasts every 2 weeks.
Are we?
Yeah, as we lead up to the show. And we also have gotten really lucky because so far, this is really great. I'm not hot at all.
No, this is nice.
I don't know how we're doing with our audio connections and our video connections. I'm assuming everything's kind of standard fare now, unlike what we had last week.
Non-melted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I threw out the extension cord the other day, and I saw that. It reminded me of it. But we may be at a place where we're busting at the seams. And this cozy little haunt that we have here may have to get replaced with a larger studio. But, I don't know. Just one of those things where our progress is forcing the change, right? Yeah. So we look forward to talking to Myron Bailey, who's going to be bringing us the Motor City Minute live from Detroit. There was a gentleman that is a friend of a lot of the Detroit mini bikers. His name is Nick Diaz, not the UFC fighter. But a cool guy who has been racing and building bikes and engines for the longest time in the Detroit scene. He's raced around Thunderdome, and he's raced on the ice. He's a young guy. He's a good-looking guy, and it's a shame because he was involved in a really nasty mini bike accident recently.
At the head?
Not that one.
No? Oh.
Yeah, that's a guy that went down a few weeks ago.
Said he got hit, I think, yeah.
That was scary. That was
scary.
Those photos were way too graphic for me. I mean, short of seeing that guy's brain.
Yep.
But that was a very graphic example of what happens without a helmet. Nick was wearing full helmet, jacket, and pants. And if you see the helmet, you can see the scrape where it's the whole side of the flip down mask, the whole side of the helmet. It tore through elbow and knees on the pants. And I say this lightly, but it's really good news. He only shattered his collarbone.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. And it could have been a lot worse. And he knows that because he's fallen down before really badly and had over 100 stitches, I understand.
He got out like 100 feet, huh? Got squirrely.
Yeah, got sideways.
Yeah.
And I think he was going close to, I don't know how fast he was going, but
he was picking up quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a special shout out to you, Nick, as you sit there in your hospital bed somewhere.
Get well, Nick.
Get well, buddy.
Yeah. I'm gonna send in a woman of the night for you to tuck you in. We'll use the same code as we did last time, Nick, and tell her we'll take care of that through PayPal. Have a good night over there. Happy ending, sweet dreams, all that good stuff. It's a little compliment from Joe's Minibike Reunion. We could have sent you flowers, but anybody can do that shit. What else? Oh, yeah. I wanted to give a shout out to D. Rivas. D's tooling around with like some new Scion. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's getting all,
A Scion?
Yeah, he's
Moving on up.
He's hustling, baby. He's out there making stuff happen. And D would be another good guy to not only help promote the potential Top Gun Challenge. D was one of those guys who went out there with me to Tucson Dragway for the zip tie drags.
D's a rider. He's all over the place, man.
Plus, he's a great socialist. He's out there covering things. You know when the Christmas tree light from D's there, that that's where you want to be. So shout out
to D. Our aqueduct ride we did not too long ago?
No, did you have a video out?
Yeah, D posted it.
Oh, yes, I did. When he came back, when he came out there with you. Yeah, you had the roper.
Time. Yep.
So why hasn't anybody bought your roper?
I don't know. I decided just not to sell it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I was going to suggest that.
I was like, nobody's going to give me money for it. I'm just going to keep it.
I would see these piece of shit bikes that people would have on.
And it's
your guy with the $1,500 fake Bonanza. I see these bikes for $900. Yeah. The guy with a Manco for $800. It's like you have a Jake Moe assembled. What is it? That's a Raptor motor. What's on
71 roper. It has a GX200. Actual Honda motor. It has a little cam and carb and everything.
For $650, it's like if you sat on it, they should have charged it $650. Let alone a dependable running bike.
Exactly. I can take that thing anywhere and it runs perfect every time I jump on it.
So you just finally that one day you said, you know what?
Yeah, I was like,
I was
going to put it towards another project, but no one wants to give me money, so I was like, I'll just keep this thing. It's too nice.
Twice I wanted to buy it. One time I talked to you about it, and then whenever I'd see it on Craigslist, it's like, that's my bike. I got to just have it somewhere because it's Jake's bike.
Yeah, it's a cool vintage, like all there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. The color reminded me of the scleroderma color as well. It was that same one. And who knows? Maybe there's the tie-in. Yeah, maybe there's a tie-in there. So who knows? Maybe we can get you to sell it to us again. Ed, congrats again on the bikes, the two Bonanzas. I don't know that have I got any new mini bikes lately? Well, did you see the little micro Temecula Bob bike?
Yeah, that thing's cool. I love that thing.
Papa Smurf helped me out. He came over and bought some parts while I was here. I put him to work. We've got the Temecula Bob longer bike there. I stuck in one of the... that was the motor that came out of the Friuli that we ended up converting into the CRC giveaway bike. So I took that motor out and we put back in the Clinton. Oh, incidentally, the red CRC Friuli. There's my beautiful daughter. I love her. Did you see her when she walked in?
Yeah.
I love her. She got two new cats.
Huh?
She got two new cats.
Cats?
Yeah.
How are they getting along with the dogs?
Well, she doesn't live here. So they have their own little place. And I'm not a cat guy. They make me sneeze. They make me scratch. They make my head blow up. My lips blow up. Yeah. And I was really concerned that was going to happen when I saw them. So last night I had the formal introduction. I'm fine. My lips aren't puffed up. I'm not scratching. And I've got two grandkids now. Yep.
There you go.
Lucky and Uno.
Uno?
Yeah.
Lucky and Uno.
I hope they don't come over here and eat my dogs. My dogs are smaller than the cats, right?
Oh, yeah.
So congrats, Nikole, on your two little kittens. And, we're looking forward to a good show. October the 14th, it's Joe's Minibike Reunion at CV Park, brought to you by Pioneer. I want to thank the folks from CRC, Campbell Automotive, Honda of Glendale, the Scleroderma folks. That's a an organization that we fully support here at Joe's Minibike Reunion. And we have a few other sponsors that continue to be a part of it. F&B Racing, our friends at Go-Kart USA as well. And I just talked to the guys at Green Filters. You know, the guy who owns Green Filter also owns Ground Force, which is the suspension company. And they also own a company that sells liners. You know, that kind of liner business, the inserts into truck beds, that's kind of gone away. And the whole lowering thing, it's kind of come and gone.
It's all Line X now.
Yeah, which is what I use,
Yeah.
the spray and stuff.
Yep.
No offense, Mark. But the Green Filter line is really doing well.
Right.
And I noticed that it's very popular with our scene. So I started talking to him about these potential races. And, you know, when part manufacturers in the automotive industry hear racing, their ears light up. So I think we can really get some good sponsor support. Hey, it's Joe's Minibike Reunion. We're going to stop for a short pause for the cause. We're going to take a break. We're going to read some emails. We're going to be giving away the Isky Cam
Bump
from
stick.
Small Engines Cam. This is, again, guys, everybody talks about going fast, and I'm going to buy a pipe, and I'm going to buy this. You ain't doing shit till you get a cam. You know? We're going to match up a cam as well as some valves and a new head. I just got that from my buddy Ian over at CB Minibikes.
See it.
We're going to dress up Frankenstein.
Bam.
Yeah.
It's a nice piece.
Yeah. So if you'd like to get your hands on a camshaft and really find out what it takes to go fast, it's Small Engine Cams. Tim, thank you for the continued support. He's our one-stop shop here.
Tim's a good guy.
He's a great
What's
guy.
up, Tim?
Timmy!
Answer your emails.
Answer your emails. It's like, get in line.
Answer the phone.
All right, it's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Podcast number 6, season 2.
Season 2.
Brought to you by
Imagine that.
Pioneer Car Audio. We'll see you guys in a few.
There you go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, episode 6, season 2. We are with Jake Moe, minibike builder extraordinaire, and we also have a good friend of Jake's. You know, I got to tell you, do you go with the Miha? Do you go with the MyJ? Is it Mija? Muja? It's like Sebergandio. It's a tough one.
Yep.
But it's Mia or Mij.
Majay.
Majay. See, now you threw another one in there. Now, if you spell it
That's how I
out,
know him by.
Mayaj, it's still complicated.
Yep.
But anyways, we're going to bring him in a little bit later on. He's got a couple things going on with this little cool promotion on Instagram. Built Minibikes.
Yep.
And it's pretty popular from what I hear. So we'll squeeze in him a little bit later on the second half, and we'll find out what's happening there.
Cool deal.
We talked a little bit about you taking on the judging role at upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion, October the 14th, brought to you by Pioneer. Excuse me. I'm getting all excited about it. You know, during the break, Linda comes out here and treats us with her little side dishes. Today we had a little sausage roll. Thank you, Linda. She doesn't listen. Oh, there she is. Thank you, Dow.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
So thanks for that. Nikole just left. She helped out. But one of the coolest segments that we have incorporated within our show is based largely around the popularity of the minibike scene in Detroit, but also the popularity of one unique individual who goes by the name of Myron Bailey.
Oh, man.
I love this guy. He is not only a genuine minibike enthusiast, but he's also one of the funniest cats around. And I want to welcome to the podcast. What's happening, Myron?
Myron.
There he is.
That has got to be one of the most famous sayings. Myron, what happens like when you're walking around, you go into a store, you go into the convenience store, you're going to have lunch. Are people recognizing you? Are they starting to get the fever?
The fever. Go ahead.
That's all right.
He knew ya. Well, look. Well, it's the love that we have for you, too. You know, you're a funny guy. Hey, there's been a lot happening in the mini bike scene in Detroit. I mentioned that we had Kalman as well as his son Jason, the Carisi boys from Detroit. They came up to the Roadkill event. We're going to be in town, and I'm going to see you, I think, Wednesday, the 10th. But there's so much happening in that Detroit scene, and you're so much of a part of it. Tell us what's happening there. I understand that Eric and the folks at Studs Hardware and Power Sports have an event coming up this weekend. Could you give us the inside, Skinny? Can you hear us, Myron? He's freezing up on me, E.
That's his connection, though.
Hey, Myron, tell us about the upcoming event back there. Yeah, there's a website as well as a very active Facebook page for Studs Hardware and Power Sports. The event is a one-day deal? So then is it a Friday, Saturday, or is it a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event? I hear that Eric puts on a good show. Is that true? You know, I'm looking forward to seeing Eric, and I hope as well as having the chance to see you, Kalman, if I get to Eric and then get to Little Indian, that would make a really nice trip for me coming up in August. Kalman was riding his bike. It wasn't a Nitro 44. It was that original Ruttman. And he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to ride the bike? It's like, dude, not only am I working, but I have a torn shoulder labrum. The worst thing that can happen is I fall down at work on a mini bike after I'm preaching about wearing helmets and wearing jackets. I could just see the headlines. Mini bike event producer crashes without helmet. So I didn't want to do any of that. But I did get a really good feeling that this small group that we've created, this small little windstorm, is starting to have a little action. And we're creating a tornado. And I'm not going to be able to do it with having you guys from Detroit being a big part of it. I love the fact that it can all get together. I mean, when you see 30, 40 guys on a Friday night all together, smiling, partying a little bit, catching up a little bit, that's life at its best. And then having the mini bikes also be a part of that fun, yet totally dismissing life by riding around in those bikes at night, in the dark, halfway stoned, no helmet, no gloves. All you got to do is make a little bit of an adjustment. You know, I've told many of the guys here that if they didn't have a helmet, and it was because maybe they financially couldn't find the money to do that, that we've got helmets. But I see guys, and I know they got more money than I do, and they still ain't wearing helmets or gloves, and they don't care because they want to look cool. Those are the guys that I'm trying to appeal to. It's like, get a helmet on, get some gloves on, because you know you had so much fun you want to do it the next weekend, right? And you see life in its truest form in your daily job, and you know how precious that is. So who knows, Myron, maybe you have a legitimate platform that when you tell these guys, wear a helmet, you see the folks that would do anything to get an extra day or an extra breath, let alone an extra weekend. So be safe out there, right?
Swerved. Yeah, he swerved right in front of the other guy. That's the way those guys drive down there.
And those are our local guys. They're our local up-and-comers. Yes. And I do think those are all level-headed, pretty smart young dudes. I mean, they assemble the bikes. They've got to have two brains inside their head, you would think sometimes, but then you wonder if they have any brains at all when you see them doing like they're doing. Not only no helmets, but no jacket. God knows they don't have any boots on.
Short pants.
Yeah.
Sandals.
They're going to get fucked up, and I hate to see that, but it's just inevitable. What happened to you, Myron? You referred to that accident several times. What happened?
Ooh.
Oh, man. How long did it take you to recover from that? Love this guy. Were they worried about what? You were going to try to break out of the hotel room, or you're going to wake up and kill a nurse? Oh, the hospital room. Yeah, they want to keep you there. Sure. Well, you know the inside behind the hospital hustle. They give you the good drugs? I know if I was a doctor walking around and I saw you roll in, I'd be the first one to treat you, and I'd be breaking out all the good stuff. Hey, so what's in the background there? You turned into Picasso?
Artist right there.
Oh, that's you. That's right, baby. You know, Myron, whatever you start's going to blow up. Yeah, baby. Get us on the train. You're right. Here's the thing. And isn't it nice that as you get older, you take that approach? You know, when you're younger, man, somebody steals something from you, it's game on, right? You don't want to be nice. You don't want to talk to them. You don't want to give them a lesson. You want to fucking crack them over the head and take your bike back. As you get older, it's more important to try to give the thief, instead of a backhand, you give him a little bit of advice. You try to look him right in the eye and tell him the shit ain't right for a lot of reasons. And although we are prepared to kill your sorry ass, we're going to give you another chance and maybe even invite you to come on a ride next time. And if you ask to borrow the bike, who knows? I may have even let you borrow the bike. You didn't have to steal it, though. I've had a couple guys recently. Who was it? Dwayne or Dane Walton. And I think my boy Corona Irving, as well as D. You know, guy's got his garage door open in Southern California on the weekend. Probably goes inside to do what? You know, maybe check something. He comes outside, his mini bike's gone. Shortly after, it's on Craigslist.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. And, you know, they found the guy. They called him up. They let the cops know. The cops could care less.
Yeah.
And then they had to independently continue on like detectives to try to go get the bike and get it back from the guy, where anything could happen. But it's a shame because it takes balls to be a thief and take somebody's stuff out of their own house. That's just not right. But I guess these mini bikes are so cool, people do whatever they want to get their hands on them, right? Or go to... Or you can roll over to Studs Hardware. They had those big boy bikes. You know, like those Bajas bikes? You know, the big fat tires. Yeah. Some pull start.
Baja Warriors.
Chinese. Yeah. You know, they're $700. You give Eric $300 down. You make some payments like a carp, and you got a mini bike. You don't have to rob one. Very good point. What else is happening in Detroit besides the big event at Milan that the folks at Studs are putting on this weekend on Friday? What else is happening? You guys got any rides planned?
Because my motto is, we leave no man behind. I don't care if you in your van and you trying to travel to another spot. We don't want to leave no man behind, because that's our motto as far as riding together as a clique. That's the fellowship. I mean, you got the fast bikes, you got the mid-size fast bikes, you know, and the slow bikes. Just get your fun in and be safe, you know. And I ain't gonna lie, I have not been unsafe, you know, all the time I've ridden my bike, but, you know, I want to implement that to everybody.
Well, that's
I
a
don't
very
care.
good suggestion, and it's pretty evident of just the type of guy that you are, Myron. You know, fun first, but always have a place for everybody. I'm hoping that maybe, I don't know, we're going to do a podcast twice in August. One of them will more than likely be as soon as we get back from the big Roadkill event in Pontiac on the 15th. So maybe you can get a hold of our buddy Calman and see if we can maybe get him on the next show. And I'll see you on the 10th of August. And until then, keep up all those great posts. Keep up all those entertaining Facebook videos. And thank you for being a small part of Joe's Minibike Reunion and handling the Detroit Motor City Minute, brought to you by Studs Hardware and Power Sports.
Okay.
See ya, Myron.
Later,
Go ahead.
buddy.
You got a few shout-outs you want to give?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Nicholas D. Lehman Hicks. I want to give shout to Eric Shingles, Cody Mount, all of the people that have been through the strawberry land of falling and in recovery and trying to come back from that and be safer.
Well, I want to reinforce that with a shout-out to some of the other local guys there. Kevin Blakeman, Billy Powell, your buddy Lamont Hicks, as well as, who's the other dude that's always on the Detroit Post? His name's slipping me, but I'll remember it next time. Myron, thank you for putting together the Motor City Minute. We'll look forward to catching up with you the next time. And I'll give you a shout-out on the cell phone probably tomorrow afternoon, and we'll catch up like we always do. Okay, brother?
Yes, sir. One time in the D as well as Kelly.
Well, with the flick of the wrist, we're off to the second part of the Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Thank you so much, Byron. Byron, I just changed your name. Myron, thanks for the help, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
Later, my man Myron Bailey, bringing us the Detroit Minute. Those headphones
People,
are kind of cool.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Something about that guy. He belongs in California.
Yeah.
You know.
Bring him out here, man.
Yeah. So that was Myron Bailey. Once again, it's this Friday, Milan Dragway. The Studs guys are putting on a nice show. If you think you want to go down the drag strip and maybe just show off your mini bike, check that out. That's going to be really cool. I just love those events. Like he said, they only have a window of about 3 months to ride those bikes. They're going to be freezing their nuts off by the time September rolls around. So get it in now while you can, everybody. And we're going to go back to our planned subject and topic here, and it's about judging. Here you go. You can unplug these so we don't have that feedback. Thank you. So, Jake, here's what I had, and Ed, you may have even helped me with this originally. One guy had said, you don't really have a limit on CCs. Well, with the exception of the Groms and the Hondas, they take those Groms from a 125 or a 150 cc engine and they put big bore kits on them. But right around 200 cc's, in my view, and even 200 was kind of pushing it. The only reason why I had 200 is because I just bought a 200.
Yeah, there you go.
But, I didn't have a limit or special classes for pull start. I didn't have one for a quote-unquote small block or a drag bike. All we did is had a top 10 and where anything went.
Right.
Originally, I had a class for Z50s and CT70s and for Groms and for US vintage. And then I had a catch-all, which was for like anything. A guy would show up with a go-kart or a bar stool. You know how to put him, right? But, you know the show. You've been coming for a while.
Right.
I think that this top 10 that I had created just kept it simple for me.
Yep.
And because the judging and the quantitative formula for judging that so many of these big shows put up, I wanted no part of that. I needed it simple. I'm a simple guy. So here's what I used. I used a system where Ed, as well as whoever else would be helping us, we had our friends from OMB join us last time and helped us out. I've had other folks that I knew that had helped originally, and that just didn't work out. So we crafted a sheet that could help the judges. And it had scoring categories that range from engine, use of aftermarket parts, paint, quality of workmanship and detail, and then there was like an other. There was a plus and minus, and an accumulative point total.
Other can be like all the little stuff, like your hardware used and
You got
different little, the detail stuff.
Boy, if somebody strapped a turbo onto one of these things,
Yeah.
you know,
Accessories.
you got it. I mean, some guy could create an illuminated, you know, LED light setup. People have different ways they go about building bikes.
Yeah.
And so the other was, again, another simple way for us to categorize some shit that we never thought of.
Right.
But I thought when I look at your bike, I kind of look at it aesthetically. You know, it doesn't have to be shiny, especially we're in a day and age where that's cooler, and the whole roadkill thing is the cool thing. You know,
Right.
the whole shiny, glossy paint. But you know, I didn't automatically want to take and transform the fact that bikes that were nice and shiny weren't cool all of a sudden. It's like, I love a good-looking bike. Like, I look at that Indian, and it's like, I like that nice paint. I like that shiny chrome.
Nice vintage look.
Yeah, so the paint to me, and Ed, you're a painter.
Yeah.
You know, having the paint as a part of the well that you use to draw from was important. So I do think aesthetics, you know, guys' wheels, you know, just clean, everything's nice.
Need a rat rod category.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a good suggestion. We'll write that
So
down.
I was thinking, I was even talking to Majay a little bit about it. Like, if you have, you know, if you have a bike that's in like the best of show running or like, you know, something like that, and then you have a drag bike.
See, the rat
You know,
rod
you-
category
yeah.
will give the
should
person with a not a nice bike a chance to win, you know?
Yeah, you should still like consider all the, you know, the paint and the function and all that stuff in both of those categories. But I think when you're looking at a drag bike, you know, function and stuff like that should be more weight in that category.
Yes, they would be more engineered and design focused
Right.
compared to
Yeah,
cosmetics
because
for a
drag
drag bike.
bike, it has to work. It
Yes.
has to be safe. It has to have the right stuff on it
A
to
rat
work, yeah.
rod bike category would be the rattier the better.
Yeah.
I want to see bobby pins and
Different
toothpicks.
things that you use. Yeah,
Sure.
the artistic details and stuff that you use when you go about something like that.
So do I hear that maybe what we're talking about is getting away from like a top 10, which is all inclusive,
Oh,
and maybe
yeah.
goes for some categories, huh?
Yeah,
definitely.
maybe.
So let's
I
talk
think-
about that.
I think
Let's-
even like coming through the gate, like even like on your card,
Uh-huh.
you should, you know, have a checklist, and then like whoever's coming in, like knowing their bike goes into this category.
Well, we would have the categories
You know what I mean?
posted in advance. Emmanuel, who's been updating the website. In fact, our website is updated. Recently included the date as well as a blog. You have to click on the blog icon to hear it. And I wrote out and covered what I thought could be maybe like 12 topics with a quick paragraph or two. And it talked about some of these things. And we could really lead with that now. We can update it, where we would tell them essentially how the new judging would work out.
Yeah.
By category as well, so they'd all be able to know what they're vying for before they get there. So if we could stay on that for a second, the categories. In fact, what I'd like to do, if I could for 1 second, is give you an idea of what I was hoping to do. You mentioned it when they first come in. You know, for those of you who've been to Joe's Minibike Reunion, which again is October the 14th at CV Park in beautiful La Crescenta, and brought to you by Pioneer. If I say that one more friggin' time, my head will spin. When you come into the venue, which is a beautiful backdrop, you know, I hope you guys still like it. I love that park.
I love it. It's fun.
I heard there was some bears over there recently, so I like it just a
really?
little bit less. Yeah, but when you first come in, it goes from a open parking lot, open registration area to a very like a small
Confined,
tunnel
yeah. Mhm.
to get in, which is a perfect capture because it funnels everybody in there.
Yep.
What I wanted to do for the ease of the judges is that when you first come through the other side of that little tunnel, that there's a ramp. And the bike is rolled up on a ramp, and it's placed right there. Visually, it stays there. At that point, the judges can view it from a table.
Yep.
They can walk around it. What I don't want to do is have the bike owner dress up the judges. I want the bike to be dropped off, and I want the owner maybe picking up his goodie bag.
Right.
I don't want to hear... I had a guy that came to my show, an older guy, that leading up to the show, man, he would email me 1,000 times, and he's working on his bike, and he's really excited, and he's got this bike going, and he's waiting for this part to come in. And I was pulling for him, hoping all his parts came in, and hoping that he made it, and he did. And he showed up, and he was a total asshole. Literally. You're pulling on my shirt. Joe, I haven't seen any judges. Hey, Joe, the judges look at my... It's like, dude, I don't know. It's like, yeah, did you fill out... Oh, I got my card. 5 minutes later, I'm out there thanking everybody. Joe, I haven't seen the judges. It's like, he didn't win anything. He had some lame ass, not a Thule Trooper, but something like that. The fuck was it? You know, it was one of those utilitarian bikes. It looked
Tote
okay.
goat or-
Yeah, it was a tote goat, exactly. It had more screen on it, more screen mesh on it than mini bike. It was like the most utilitarian, god awful bike. But look, in that class, if we had a utilitarian industrial class, you know, put him up against a John Deere tractor, he may have fucking won. But the fact is, he was not a top 10 guy. And all he did, including asking for his money back, which I told him no. Yeah, you know, it's like, dude, he had 4 bikes. I already gave him a discount. And then I gave him like goodie bags that were worth more than his mini bike. And I all but told him that. But it got, you know, it really turned me off. And I realized that, you know, that shouldn't have been my mindset. I should have taken it for what it was just that the judging's important.
Yep.
That these guys, no matter if it was him and his tote goat, or somebody else with a brand new bike, a Jake Moe built from scratch, or somebody that just bought one of these Coleman bikes. You know, to them, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So the judging now needs to get to that place, which is why you're here. So they have this ramp. The owner goes away. He doesn't have a chance to tell you that his father and him built it, and his father just died in some car accident, and try to work the sentimental vote, you know, or the whole...
Hey, check out this, check out
Yeah,
that. Like,
we don't want to hear a 20-minute...
If your bike comes in, we should be able to spot it and, you know, not have you come to us to.
Yes. Now let me ask
Show
you
us the
guys both,
details.
Ed, a well as Jake. Legitimately, a guy walks in. He's already filled out his form. He rolls his bike up on the ramp. Now the bike's here, just like we're looking at your Bonanza. How much time do you think you need to really evaluate that bike based on maybe our 4 or 5 categories? What's going to take us?
A couple minutes.
Yeah. Easy deal, right?
Yeah.
Just a first look to get the taste, you know. So when we go into the show later, we
There you
know
go.
what's out there. Yeah.
Even to the point where you don't have to necessarily, oh yeah, let's
Right.
say, oh yeah, you know what? You're in, we got to get him to top 10 within the category. So, okay, within the rat rod category, like, is that a top 10? You know
Yeah.
what? And so then now you know.
It's your initial take notes.
You got it.
Moment.
And then
Yeah.
maybe that guy, we're not going to tell him, but that guy's going to get a decal that denotes so that when people are walking around, the judges, that's one of those bikes. So then it's like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a yellow decal on your mini bike, at this point we'd ask you all to either go back to the judging area or to go to your bike, because the judges are going to go around making their final review so that you have a chance that I'll take those 10 bikes or 5 bikes that are within the semifinals and then go look at them one more time if you need to.
Right.
Meanwhile, if you know that bike's going to be in the top 10 and his bike's number, like his registration number is 14, you know that bike number 14, that he's in the top 10.
Yeah,
So then you can say, hey, bike number 14, you know, you've been recognized by the judges. So let's talk about the categories. So we've got rat rod.
Rat bike. I mean, it should be rat bike.
Rat bike. Yeah, you're right. Forget the rod. What would be the other one? Like original?
Yeah, you got to have like vintage,
OG.
original,
Okay.
OG.
OG. Okay. Drag bike.
drag bike.
Okay. And folks, if you're listening and you have any suggestions, by all means, send them in. Let's take a peek, see if we do have
There's
anything.
so many
Take a look,
categories
guys.
you could have.
Well, let's not-
Restored. You know, it's just like.
Well, let's keep
where
them
does it
going.
stop?
We got rat bike, we got OG, we got drag bike.
restored.
Yep.
Okay.
Survivor.
Like that one. What are you thinking, Jake?
Like, I know some of the guys come in still working on their bikes, maybe like an
Under construction?
Yeah.
Under
Yes.
construction.
See
Yeah,
that at car shows a lot
Yep.
and stuff. Yep.
So, folks, you can see what we're getting at. You know, instead of going from top 10 now, what do we do with the Japanese bikes? The Honda CT70s, the Z50s, and then maybe more appropriately, what do we do with these new bikes, the Groms? Do we have categories for the Japanese class? Do we have a mini moto category?
Is there that much?
Yeah, I
Like,
think you gotta.
I should
what's
buy
the-
2, I guess. Stock and custom.
Yeah.
For those categories?
Yes, because there's really not much you can really do to those.
Yeah, you're right.
Custom, whatever custom
Maybe
modifications.
split them up. They got the Groms, the Ruckuses.
You know, extended whatever they swing arms
everything
or whatever
else.
they do to them.
Most of the bikes are in the mini moto category are Honda based.
right.
With the exception of Kawasaki, and I think Benelli has a bike out there now that's kind of fallen into that category. But so you would hate to have the guy with the Kawasaki. You know, I don't want to have one necessarily for that class because there may not even be more than one
Where
or two of
somebody
those.
comes in where they don't fit in.
Yeah, so
it's-
I
It's
think,
Yeah.
all other class.
Yeah, there's
Well-
gotta be like a other.
but if I think that the Kawasaki should be looked at along the same category in the same way that we would look at the Groms.
Yeah, true.
So that's why I'm suggesting that maybe we have this mini moto category, which is how those guys define themselves.
Okay.
You know, that's how they
Yeah,
define
yeah.
themselves. And then if you had Minimoto, we are talking about Groms, Ruckuses, and the new modern Kawasaki's. What we haven't taken into account within that Minimoto is the CT70 and the Z50 classes. So if we did the Minimoto,
I actually have a buddy that he has a Ruckus and a Grom.
yeah.
Maybe he might help with judging. I don't
Well,
know. See.
yes, because I have guys. In fact, the guys at Steady Garage have been supporters of the show from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, and they modified my bike. They do a great job. Ray Tong, belated happy birthday. I think you just turned 116 yesterday. Congratulations, Ray. And then Kevin Dunn from Steady Garage. Those guys are here right off the 210. I think at Arcadia. I just went to one of their open houses. They do some great work there. And it's tough for those guys to judge because they have a following. They have a group of their guys from Steady Garage.
Yeah.
So you talk about that impartiality. I also have my buddy Bing, who is the guy who organizes all these Grom rides. And I asked him, but he likes Steady Garage. Like, he doesn't have a garage, but he has a following. And he has a group of guys. So it would be tough for him.
It's like GTs.
Yeah, exactly.
Same type of thing.
It's tough for them when they're building a lot of the bikes for the guys that are racing.
Right.
So I have a gentleman who has helped me last year, the gentleman that was working alongside you with the Japanese bikes.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to re-enlist him and then give him a heads up so that he can maybe get some more help. And then let's also do the same for the guys who are experts within that Z50 and CT70 class, because don't forget the winner of Joe's Minibike Reunion People's Choice Award for 2 years in a row was my buddy Chris Schneider with that awesome blue CT70, that Honda. That won 2 years in a row. And that bike, to many people, is a mini bike. We go back a little bit longer where we know these rigid frame bikes, but to a lot of guys a little bit older or a little bit younger than us, their view of a mini bike was that little Z50 that their parents bought them. Those rich little bastards. I don't like any of those kids that had one of those Hondas when they were kids. Yeah. So then the Minimoto class, which would be the Groms and the Ruckuses and the Kawasaki's, fall into original or custom. And then we'd have one for, I'm just going to refer to it now as the Japanese minis, which are the 50s and the CT70s, and God forbid those QA 50s.
Oh, those things are kind of cute.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out
cute.
there. And this is just us talking out loud.
Yeah.
So then, with that said, Jake, do you like the idea, Ed, as well, where the ramp, where they roll up and you do, because
that's good.
once you've looked at it, then they go park.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about a guy saying, hey, no one saw my bike. You don't
Yeah,
have to worry about walking around. We had no method to the madness. It's like, you fucking go over there, I'll go over here. We'll meet in the middle. It's like, did you see that bike? It's like, which one? Oh, that Taco 22. It's like, no, I missed it.
corner.
Oh, come on, where is it? Well, then the guy moved.
Right.
Because those guys, they'll see their buddies. It's like, oh, I'd rather, or it gets sunny out and they want to go to the shade. So it's like, well, it was just over there. And it's only a 5-6 hour event. So we really found ourselves chasing our ass over the judging, which to me was the last thing I needed to be doing. Because what I don't get to do.
I got E on board too. Ian.
Oh, good.
Yeah. He said he'd help me out.
All right.
So.
And let's talk about that.
Okay.
I sent Ian an email. I said, I need to talk to you. Ian, based largely, not so much because he's an older guy and he's got that. Ian doesn't remember bikes in the 60s because he wasn't around in the 60s. He remembers them now and he knows their history. But because he's so active selling parts and he's so active in the scene, he knows where every bike is. Some guy will post a bike of a Sears mini bike that he just found in Madison, and the first one to like that, and the first one to talk to that guy, and the first one to help him out is my man Ian.
That's true.
So he's seen enough, and he has such a genuine passion. I told him, it's like, dude, you blow right by me. You're going to have your own show. You're going to be doing. I can see. I saw him originally when I first met that guy, and I knew he was different.
Yep.
And he's got his brothers and his dad.
Different.
Well, I mean, he's
Careful.
different. Yeah, different in a good way.
Different.
And I like him a lot, and I want him to be a part of it.
Yeah, of
selfishly, he's one of those guys where I like to kind of have around.
Yep.
So, Ian, to set you straight, as well as you, Jake, and you, Ed, is that I want your bikes to come. I want you to build a bike to win. I would be the proudest guy on the podium giving you a trophy. And again, ultimately, the People's Choice Award was the one award, and then I want to make sure that we have some stout awards for anybody that gets into these finals. And would that be how we would do it? that we would have just first place in the category and then it's done, or is it first, second, and third in every category? You know, I don't want to stand there giving out
There
50
was
trophies
1 year
every day.
that you did the first, second, and third.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it for every category. I think you just did it for a few. I think you did it for like the bigger ones, like drag bikes, and
I was still
Did you
finding
get
my
more
way.
complaints about that though?
I think that worked out better, to be honest.
With the first,
maybe
second,
not in
thirds?
all of them, but
Yeah,
like
the first,
just
second, and
Well,
third.
whenever you're giving out more trophies, you have less of a potential for somebody not getting one.
Right.
I love my trophy guy. It's the trophy shop. I've taken some cues from Roadkill. You know, the days of the big trophies,
Done.
you know, they're getting like, they'll get wrenches from Craftsman. We'll get a piece of cardboard.
I'll donate a few. How about that?
We'll zip tie them. Yeah, I've got some too. I got
Weld some up.
I got a bag of 9/16 brand new wrenches that I came across at some deal. I give them to everybody.
Make a little stick.
Yeah,
out of it.
they duct
Stick figure.
taped the label. They
Right.
zip tied the cardboard label to the wrench, and you would have thought that we were giving gold when we give out these awards. And no one had an idea what they were. As we went to the car show, we looked at it. It's like, you know what? That's the Steve Dulcich choice because
Yeah.
Steve just loved this Dodge truck.
Love that guy.
Yeah. Oh, Dulcich is he's really good.
He's a trip.
Yeah, I started to get a sense of his popularity working with him now, where we've asked him to join us on the Roadkill Zip Tie Drags.
Oh, cool.
So he'll help us with judging the Hoopty Challenge cars, and he's now part of the autograph signing table. And there's a lot of Dulcich fans out there. He's not too far up the 5. He's like
Okay.
in the middle of nowhere near Ian, and
Okay.
he's a really
We'll
cool
make a
guy.
trip. Go visit them both.
Yeah, actually, I hope that we can get him out here.
Cool.
In fact, Dulcich would be a great guy for the podcast because he's just an overall good guy, funny guy, and car guy. And after a couple more zip tie drags, we'll have enough stories we can maybe get him on there. Freiberger laughs about it because I beg him to come on the podcast, and honestly, and I had just heard it from him, but I literally saw his schedule, and it's like, this guy is booked every second of every day. He had like one weekend open in October, and I think folks were vying for that. So
Big
as much
stuff.
as I would love for him to roll over, I don't want to lean on him because he's just, we're burning him out already at both ends. So we've got a basic then on the trophies, right?
Yep.
We have a little bit idea about the categories. Maybe we go first, second, and third on all of them. Does that kind of sound right?
The bigger ones, yeah, I would say.
Okay, so maybe I'll need a little bit more help on that.
Okay.
You think you've got Ian maybe on board
Yep.
to potentially help with the judging? Okay, so we have, what about go-karts? I had a question that came in from one of the guys who's with CB up there in middle of the state. What about go-karts? That was one of the questions they had about the judging. Would go-karts fall into a specific category? We haven't had enough of them.
I was thinking about I was actually talking to Majay, but maybe like a more than 2 wheels class, trikes and go karts.
Oh,
Trikes, drift trikes, or whatever.
I like just the title of that, more than 2 wheel
'Cause
class. Yeah.
Rafa has that trike that he built recently. That thing's pretty nice too.
Taco Bill had that trike.
Yeah, and then Taco Bill.
So would that one be, where we wouldn't expect 3 of those? That maybe that would just be where we would have like the 1 trophy, right?
Right. Yeah.
For something like that.
Maybe combine go karts and just in case somebody. I haven't seen too many go karts at the shows, but
Yeah. So then would the Barstool Racer guy fall in, or if somebody wanted to modify a shopping cart?
More than 2 wheels.
I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah.
Okay. So anything that falls into that category. Well, folks, you're hearing it
Drift
live.
trikes, bring them.
Yeah.
Those are big now too.
Yes.
And if you put training wheels on your mini bike, you're in that category.
Well, you got the extra 2 wheels,
You're
right?
stuck.
That's it.
So let's talk about that. Any drifters out there? Because Roadkill just did a little piece on how you can build one for $400, and
Yeah.
that got a lot of activity.
Go karts, Predator engines. It's all the same stuff we use.
So
Bring them out.
we got a new category, the drift bike category. Okay, look. So if you heard this again, here's where we are.
The Drift King.
The drift. The drift.
That'll be fun making the trophy for that guy, right? So here's our category so far, folks. Rat bike, OG, drag, restored, survivor, under construction, mini moto, both custom and original. Our Japanese category, which will come up with a more appropriate name, which will include the Z50, the CT70s, and maybe the Q50s, the more than 2 wheel class, and then the drift bike class. We'll roll you up on an elevated stage that me and Ed will make 2 hours before the show, I'm sure. We'll ask the owners to kindly go get a drink or get lost while the judges are, so the judges can take a look at your bike without being influenced at all. And then you go park and you have a good time.
Yep.
I've got
all
I've got an extended hour for this year's show.
Yes.
And, most people will laugh at that, but to me it's a big thing because
And it Goes too quick.
We need
so
it.
That's good. Yeah.
It's worse than the podcast. It goes by really quick. And as we kind of finish up this podcast,
As soon as the show's done, I see Joe.
yeah, man. Well, you know the biggest thing is,
See
is
you later,
that
Joe. Okay, bye.
it's these mats, the mats that are hiding back there in the bowels of my garage.
Yeah.
Those mats, which was my idea, and now the park mandates that I place them. It was such a great idea. I had brand new shiny mats, and everybody had one. And then after the first year, those mats got full of dirt and grass and grease and beer and everything else. And when you put them together the first time, they're great, and then they fall apart. That snap together stuff. So it's a pain to not only transport them, but lay them down and then get them off. So I apologize for being a terrible host, but yeah, you're right. I'm running around like a madman.
Yep.
And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was just simply doing too much there and we didn't have a lot of time. So your help and your participation, not only do I love you for that, but you can sense it right now is I need the help.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick stop. Mijay, if you can, Mijay is a good friend of the Jake Moe family, and I had a chance to meet him. Ed, you and I went down with Mijay and Jake, if you recall, down to Anna Street for the drag races. What was that, about a year ago, Mijay?
Yeah.
You still owe me a hamburger, if I recall.
Hamburger.
So tell me a little bit about what you've got going on Instagram with this. Is it Built Minibikes?
It's Built Minibikes.
Yes, speak right into that microphone. Tell everybody what it's about.
Basically, I had maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I had seen that the mini bike support for social media didn't have such a big following.
Okay.
So I took it upon myself to start Built Minibikes, the Instagram page. And 2 or 3 years ago, there wasn't much following, and I kind of struggled for followers a little bit, but I posted what I could find that was either genuinely sent to me or some uncopyrighted material from Google or something like that, or anything cool I seen on Facebook, you know. And honestly, I had been neglecting the page for a while, and I had asked Jake Moe to help me out with the page recently, and with Jake Moe's help, we've been growing our following a little bit, and actually right now we're doing a giveaway, so I'm hoping to blow up the page for the giveaway.
What are you guys giving away?
We are giving away a Black Mamba cam and some springs.
Awesome. From Small Engine Cams?
Small engine cams, yes.
Great. There's Tim again helping out.
Yeah, right. So
how does that work? How will folks have a chance to win that?
basically, if you post a picture and you your follower and you tag Built Minibikes, you're
eligible
for the giveaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it subjective on how the winner? Is it luck of the draw, or how do you you?
Yes, it's luck of the draw basically. We're gonna do a fair drawing, and we're gonna have a fair giveaway.
Yeah, no,
So-
that's nice, and because the intention is to get followers for the Instagram page, right?
Right,
What is
right.
it called again?
Built Minibikes.
Built Minibikes.
Built Minibikes.
How many followers you guys have now?
I think we have around 1,300 followers or so.
That's not easy,
pretty
dude.
good.
That's congratulations.
Yeah, especially for something smaller like the mini bike.
Yeah.
You know, so I have been working on followers, but like I said, Jake Moe's been helping me, and actually with Jake's help, we've been blowing up the page a little bit. So basically, the reason for the page was there's a lot of people who build their bikes, and to anybody, you know, anybody non-mini bike, it looked like, you know, whatever, you know, but we want to show support and appreciation for anybody following the page. So I mean, I post nice bikes and I post less than nice bikes, which is all
That's reality.
right, which is all appreciated, at least by me and Jake and other people who follow the page. For people who've worked hard on their bike, who don't have really means to help or to have the nicest bike, or
Sure.
or something like
We're a
that.
low buck sport.
Right.
We're a hot dog and
Right.
an orange group. We're not steak and potato guys.
Right,
you know,
right,
that's very
exactly.
obvious.
Exactly.
And that there are exceptions, but yeah, the fact that you don't disclude somebody because it's doesn't meet some highbrow criteria, that'll help you.
Right.
And let's face it, man, we're just building a following. So
Exactly.
we'll contribute to that. I've got some Joe's Minibike Reunion posters, and I've got some apparel from last year's Joe's Minibike Reunion. I probably got some decals, so we'll hook you up with a bunch of stuff, and you can keep that and your bag of goodies for folks that may use some incentives to get to the Instagram page. It's Built Mini Bikes. And if me, Jay, you're behind it, I know you're a genuine mini bike enthusiast. And if you're part of trying to make that work, and Jake's helping you out, you got our support too. So we promote that. And again, folks have asked me about the podcast too. They've had comments, good, bad, or indifferent. It's like, dude, start one yourself.
Right.
All you need is a garage and somebody as smart as Emmanuel to figure that out for you, and the dedication. So whether it's an Instagram page or a Facebook page or a podcast or an event, do it.
Exactly.
And go buy a mini bike. And if you've got $500 in your pocket, get a mini bike that you can get running for $500. And if you got a few more money or a few more dollars and you want to go build a nice highbrow mini bike, do it. Just do it. Get into it. Get yourself some friends that'll help you out. Help is always here if you need it. It's all about riding. It's all about having fun. It's all about getting into the mini bike craze. That's why we do this stupid podcast. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. I want to thank our special guest, Jake Moe. Jake, great to see you. I may see you in a couple days.
Yeah, I'll be back down.
All right, we got Frankenstein here, ready for phase 2 of Frankenstein.
We're get his show prepped.
Yep. Watch out, D. Rivas.
Going down, D.
You're going down, D. Ed, congratulations with both of your new babies.
Oh, thank you.
And if anyone has a chance to, because I know it's East Coast, it's a little bit later back there, so maybe some of the Bonanza diehards who will watch it on the rebroadcast will listen in. And if you have any insight on the bikes that Ed has, let us know. We're looking for a Briggs 3 horsepower that's period correct for the bike. And you'll have the chance to have said that you sold a part or gave a part to Evil Ed. Joe's Minibike Reunion, again, October the 14th. The Minibike Cam. I like, personally, the guy who asked about the go-karts because it led to the drifting category potential. And we had a few others, but they really weren't specific to the judging. So I think the CB Mini guys have won the camshaft.
All right.
Yeah.
The CBers?
Yeah.
CB again.
All right.
So congratulations. We'll fire that up. Ian, you need another camshaft like a hole in your head, but this is a brand new one, and who knows, maybe you can stick that on one of the new bikes that you're building. In fact, maybe you can use this for the heart of the engine of the bike that you're building to win at Joe's Minibike Reunion. And what are we're going to have, it's no longer the top 10, so it's the all-new Joe's Minibike Reunion judging categories. We shared some of that with you for those of you who are listening. I want to thank our sponsors again, Pioneer, CRC, Go-Kart USA, Small Engine Cams, and our newest friends from GoPowersports.com. I also want to thank Eric from Studs Hardware and Power Sports for sponsoring the Motor City Minute. A big shout out to my man Myron back there in Detroit for all the good stuff. I want to thank everybody again who came out to the Roadkill Zip Tie Drags with their mini bikes. I look forward to seeing you in August the 12th in Pontiac for Roadkill Nights. And then in September it will be in Madison, Illinois at the Gateway Raceway for the final Zip Tie Drags, which is going to be great. And keep tuned for the Joe's Minibike Reunion Top Gun drag racing competition, where everybody who's got a fast bike gets a chance to get off of your keyboard and actually get on your bike. And we'll see who's got what, whether you're in Detroit or whether you're in LA or whether you're in Miami, where our friend Mitchell Alibaba says that the mini bike scene is going strong down there. Mitchell, maybe you can send a couple Southwest Airline tickets out here to me and Evil Ed, and we'll come down there and have a couple pina coladas with you.
I get a lot of friend requests from guys from Florida.
You're big in Florida. Your popularity band is like the Smile. You're big in New York, down to Florida, then you come across the states, to Texas.
I seen you on Pinterest.
Pinterest, he's big.
Really?
Yeah. So there's already some talk, Ed. People want you on the shirt. People want to have shirts. Jake Moe wants to make metal signs with your silhouette. So you're popular, and we're glad to have you. Your agent called me last week, Ed. So
really,
yeah, I've got to return his call. I know he's going to try to hardball me on your salary for next year, but you're worth every penny. Jake, congratulations on your deal as well. I told him at $300,000 a year, that was a steal. I'd pay you $1 million. You know, me, Jay. Good luck with your deal, Emmanuel. Thank you for the great work. Andrew, helping out here. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your new car purchase. Although he's buying a one-cylinder Ford.
Doesn't make any noise.
Yeah, it doesn't make any noise. That's what Emmanuel said. If it makes noise, you're in trouble. E, how's everything on your end? What's going on with the folks over at Scleroderma? You had another walk recently, or what's going on?
We've got a walk August 26th, but I'm flying out to Phoenix for the conference for the foundation.
Where were you last night, Big Shot?
Oh, I was at the Stark Mansion, hanging out with Stanley and chilling with those people, and Guardians of the Galaxy, and yeah. Nothing big.
No, nothing big. So yeah, I'll be over at Stan Lee's house. It's like, hey, can you help me update the website? It's like, Joe, I got a bigger name on the other line. Hey, everybody, it's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. This was a good one. I love seeing you guys here. Me, Jay, a nice present surprise having you here. Good luck with the Built Mini Bikes on Instagram. We'll be giving you away some garb here. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We have two of them coming up in August. We don't know what the dates are. As soon as we do, so will you. We're out.
Joe's Minibike Show.